Well, Kempe's doing his fucking live thing, maybe now.
Oh,
We love you, Johnny.
it's Johnny's birthday.
Get this thing going. What are we waiting for here, man? Come on, come on. Hello and welcome to another television review from
Come on.
MBE. Tonight, we're going to be talking about episode 2.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
We've just reviewed episode 1 here on our YouTube channel. I'd like to thank you once again for joining us, all 2 viewers so far, and and on our Twitch stream as well. And yeah, we're going to just crack on, John, with episode 2. Don't see the point now, because the big hitters are doing the same thing as we are right now. Fuckers. But anyway, we'll just crack on and give our views. Who cares about them? Who gives a shit?
Oh,
Let's
amazing.
just do this, John. So I'm going to pass this over
Stephen,
to
now
you now.
you've started dropping F-bombs, I'm going to get started. You don't want to get me started with swearing. Oh, I keep a facade of cleanliness and niceties on.
Well, listen, that's the beauty of our YouTube channel. It is not for kids, so
It's not.
you're being warned,
Fuck
kids.
off,
Get to your
kids.
beds.
Fuck off.
So, let's get back on track, shall we? Episode 2 of Wandavision, John.
Oh, I love it.
This is your favourite episode so far. There is only 2 episodes, but out of the 2 of them, this was obviously your favourite one. So I'm going to hand it over to you now to get us through this ordeal.
Yes. Stephen, what an intro. Neighbourhood nuisance, Sav says. Also, there's bangs in the night. We've got Wanda. We've got Vision in their beds, and they hear a noise. He looks out the window. There's some shenanigans going on. The lights are going on and off. And yeah, she starts decorating the room, and he gets scared. He wants to go under the covers, and of course there's some insinuation that there's been a bit of naughtiness happening under the covers as well. And then we get a cool little cartoon. I don't even want to know how that works. Then we get a cool cartoon style intro.
I get worked up about John Compare being on as if it affects us. Dearie me.
Oh, Jesus.
He's on a different solar system to us in terms of everything to do with YouTube.
Yes, Stephen. We are just a flea, and he is like the Andromeda Galaxy. But, see, what do you make about that intro? What do you make about the cartoon style, the little Wanda
Your intro
Vision?
or Wandavision's intro?
Oh, WandaVision's intro.
Yeah, it was fantastic, John. It also, I liked the whole bedroom scene. It was very funny. Single beds, typical 50s sort of style, and those noises as well. Again, the creepiness is already in there very early on in the episode, but I liked it. I liked it as well. Wanda's obviously doing a bit of her magic, converting the 2 single beds into a double bed as well, and you get the audience kind of woo, giving it that kind of thing, like they do, but it was good. It was a good introduction. I liked the little cartoon style as well, the introduction. It was very I Dream of Jeannie,
And it carries.
and it was a catchy little tune as well. I can't remember it, but it was a lot of Wanda in there. Wanda.
WandaVision.
Great. Very good.
I can't recall the song either, but I have the memory of a geriatric at times. But yeah, it was a really cool intro, and again, doing something different with this episode. We've got this little cartoon style that carries throughout the whole episode, mostly focusing on the likes of Vision when he has some mishaps in the episode. And of course, we get some magic preparation, some magic show preparation, have the disappearing wardrobe come onto the screen, and some reality starts bleeding in as well when Vision disappears. And also Wanda steps out the house. We see a drone land and crash on the hedge. It's red. It's that classic sort of Schindler's List aesthetic. The red against the black and white. It's very vibrant.
Yeah.
And
Pleasantville did that as well.
Pleasantville done it as well. What did you make about that, Stephen? The whole magic show preparation, the back and forth again, the great chemistry between these characters, reality bleeding in, a sign that this isn't maybe just all in her imagination, as I alluded to earlier. It could be a bubble. It could be Hydra up to some shenanigans, and some
Yeah.
real life things are bleeding in and breaking the sort of the ambience and the, I don't know, I can't even think of the word, but what did you make about it anyway?
Well, we'll talk about obviously the disturbing scene at the very end when we get there, John. But there was one thing I noticed about this episode was both Wanda and Vision try to fit into the neighborhood. It's very important for them to contribute something to the neighborhood as well. And obviously, this magic act is part of that. For fundraising for the kids, we're doing it for the kids, as I said, and also Wanda's acceptance into the sort of women's circle as well, into the sort of committees that circulate around this town. A lot of that was emphasised a lot in this episode. I felt that they want to be accepted into this environment, and I think that was a very important sort of message that was across the whole episode.
Yep, they are borderline godlike figures. These are absolute gimps around them. They can have their merry way with them, but they want to appease these people. And that is something you see. She also goes over to the neighbour party, setting up for this magic show. That deeply unlikable blonde lady, her neighbour, is just being an arse, putting little digs in and being snarky.
Well, neighbour again, she's commenting on the flower arrangements, absolutely slagging them.
Yes, she was.
Garden.
Yeah. And obviously, she's feeling uncomfortable too, Wanda. She's wearing trousers, the rest are wearing dresses. She's a sort of person out of time. That old-fashioned ankle-left dress setup is not happening with Elizabeth Olsen. But she gets reassured by, I think, one of her neighbours. I think it's I can't recall the actor's name, but also she disappears at the end of the episode. I think it's Tiona Paris, and it's Monica Rambeau is perhaps the actor in that scene. But Stephen, obviously, again, we get some bleeding of reality into the scene. She cuts her hand, the radio voice. Who's doing this to you, Wanda? What's happening? The blood. And a sort of little inside secret for you. I think the woman says to her, how do you get blood out of your white linens? You do it yourself. Something along those lines. Yeah. I know you says for a fact it rubbed up someone in your house the wrong way when we had an incident. Please your man with the toast. Make sure the toast is ready all the time for your man. But you have to remember when this is set. It was episode 1, but there's little references, old time sort of references that show
Where's my dinner?
Where's my dinner? Hi honey, I'm home. Get in that kitchen and make me a sandwich. Things like that. The sort of sexist-ridden era that was in the 1950s. It's bleeding into this, and that'll rub some people up the wrong way. I'm sure there'll be people with their knickers in a twist on Twitter just now, furiously typing, "Oh, Kevin Feige, what are you doing?"
It happened, so he's not airbrushing over it.
It did happen. And obviously, Stephen, at this point, we have one of the better moments in the episode happen. Vision goes off to the neighbourhood watch meeting. And he's feeling out of time. What, do you want something to eat? I don't eat food. What do you mean? I don't eat food between meals. Of course, it's a bit of chewing gum. Sparks off some hilarity in this episode because it's almost like he's pushed out his napper asses. He's absolutely drunken. He's in a drunken stupor.
The gum's going through the cogs, and that sort of little cartoon sequence, isn't it? Yeah.
What did you make about the back and forth? I think he says one of them's a communist and they're all killing themselves laughing. They thought he was a square. No, I'm not a square. I'm very much a round or something like that. I'm very round or something like that.
I'm very rounded, yeah.
I'm very rounded. Paul Bettany again, showing that he is an unconscious comedian in this episode. What did you make about that, Steve? What did you make about the build-up to this magic show? And of course, the magic show itself we'll get into in a moment.
Yeah, that was the standout. But I loved that. I loved the sort of interaction with all the other guys. Who I think it's hinted as well that the rest of the town are kind of talking about Wanda and Vision behind their backs, and they've obviously got an idea of what they think they're like, but I think that scene and that sort of meeting that Vision was in kind of broke down those barriers, and he got to know the guys a little bit better. Obviously, the scene you're talking about with the magic act, John, we'll get into, kind of brings everyone round to accepting them a bit more as well. But that was a great scene. I liked the sort of back and forth between them, and I loved that little cartoon sequence where the gum's going through his cogs. I thought that was very clever. It was a very bold thing to do for Marvel, and it kind of opens up and it intrigues me where they're going to go with future episodes, what we're going to see visually, visually. But I don't know what that was visually. But I think that's my Alan Hansen coming in there, slurring my words. But
Visually.
I think John, it was just a
Big
great
time,
scene,
Charlie.
and I liked. It kind of introduces you to these other characters as well. You know, I'm pretty sure we're going to see throughout in different sort of incarnations, like when we're seeing them in colour, Technicolor, you know, the sort of 70s, 60s vibe as well. I think you'll see all these characters sort of developing as well, you know, as we move forward.
Absolutely, Stephen. That's that sort of gossiping nature of this little town. That's something that's been explored in other movies of this ilk. Pleasantville, there's a facade of niceness, and then underneath the surface you've got lots of bickering and cliques and stuff like that, and it does it because it gets explored in this in more ways than one. But the magic show, Stephen, we have to get right on to the magic show. It's the star of this episode. Vision just trying his best to out them as borderline superheroes in this little town. He's levitating and Wanda's furiously trying to figure out little ways to make it appear part of the act. He's lifting a piano.
She's constantly putting out fires throughout the act. Yeah. That's basically what she's doing.
But I think the best moment in this is just the demeanour of Vision and Paul Bettany. He's just hilarious. He's slurring his words. He's nearly falling down the stairs. He's just acting hilariously. The card trick. Yeah. Is this your card? Is this your card? Is this your card? Is this your... Yes, it is. Yes, what?
There's a moment where he was doing it that fast, you know, with the cards. It was just like a blur.
Yep. And of course he passes, I think, the hat through himself at one point as well. And she's furiously, as you did say, trying to firefight and show, look, this is why this is happening. This guy isn't a superhero. It's just all part of an act. Is that how mirrors work? Yeah. Nope, but it's how they work in this episode. And again, it just nice. It's showing you, again, it's a ballsy approach from the people at Marvel to do this with these characters. This is superhero characters. They're being thrust into this very non-superhero world. They're trying to be a little family unit. She's obviously grief-stricken, or she's been forced into this strange situation where she's acting like a happy family, a married couple with Vision. And they're almost neutering their powers, but you see little moments like that where the powers seep out. We've seen it in the first episode where he puts his hands through the boss and takes the food out. We've seen it in this when he's levitating and doing all of his stuff. And it's nice, it adds that sort of... It's nice to have this very different story, but it's also nice to see them doing superhero things. It's a superhero story.
I was going to say, John, it's nice to be reminded of the characters we know, you know.
And Stephen, it's going to be really good to see how they're introducing the likes of Evan Peters, obviously Quicksilver, into this story, how they're going to introduce the likes of Doctor Strange and all of these other characters into this story, and how it's all going to, as you says, evolve out into the different eras, because of course we see that at the end of this episode. But Stephen, there's a very cool moment in this episode where they go home. They're happily ever after. Is this real? Yes, it is. They step outside when they hear a bang, and there's a sort of guy climbs out the manhole.
John, I think we forget the bit just prior to that where Wanda's actually got a little present inside her tummy.
Yes, she's
pregnant.
That's
Don't know how that works with a robot, but
what did?
We're not what she wants, she gets.
What she wants, she gets. Steve, I think again that's probably just fantasy from Wanda. I think this is all just made up fantasy. She's just, because of course we see that they do have kids later on. We've seen that in the trailer. This is just her creating. Again, I don't know whether it's Hydra, and we'll get into that in that next scene, who are manufacturing this and allowing her to manipulate her own reality.
What's the country she's from again?
Sokovia.
Called Sokovia. I think it's maybe the television that they were subjected to growing up. I think, you know, they were twins, weren't they? Her and Aaron Taylor Johnson's character.
Yes, Quicksilver.
I think both of them were subjected to that, probably just a poor upbringing, and they were subjected to sort of 50s type shows and that. I think that's seeping into our subconscious, you know.
They probably yearned for that existence, and that's why she's creating this existence. That's her idea of happiness and perfection. Yeah, you're probably right. But Stephen, I don't know what you made about what happened afterwards. There was obviously, again, there was an advert in this as well where Hydra was on the stopwatch and it was ticking. So that was, to me, that was an Easter egg. If you're putting Hydra in this, then that's got to mean something Hydra. And we know there's another government agency affecting things outside. We see someone get shot out of this strange bubble surrounding the town. Could that be the agents of Hydra as a different guise? I don't know, but of course we see this guy coming out the manhole. He's got a power icon, I think, on his back, and she says nope and reverses
John,
time.
I actually thought he was a beekeeper.
Could have been a
I
beekeeper.
thought he was I thought there was bees around him.
Could have been.
I'm not sure.
It could have been.
I'd
Steve.
have to watch that.
But it
But it was strange.
we're basing this
But-
off our first vision, or our first watch, first vision.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep track.
I think. I think.
Vision.
I'm not going to live this down, but at least it's not as
Stephen,
bad as my clanger at the start of the episode. But
Stephen, I said vision at the start as well. It's just me doing my David Bowie sound and vision.
again, John, it's another dark element in an episode. You know, we got it in the first one, obviously with the dining scene.
Mhm.
We're getting it in this one with the manhole cover uncovered. But as you said, she rewinds time. I think she says stop or something. I can't remember what she says.
I think she's,
But,
yeah, or no, or something like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, and it goes back to the scene in the house just prior to that again.
Yep, and then
And obviously,
changes.
well,
changes
his
time.
face is all colour, isn't it?
Yep.
Visions.
Starts bleeding colour into the room. Their outfits
No.
change. It's a new decade, a new era. We're about to have some sprockets. And they're living happily ever after. Stephen, you know what it's like? It's almost like, I'm trying to think what it puts me in mind of. It's almost like, again, the Ngomadu scene at the end of Doctor Strange, where she's just trapped in this loop. She's changing things around about her, but it's a loop. She doesn't want to leave yet. It's not her time to leave. She could have been brought out of it there. It's almost like Ashes to Ashes and Life on Mars as well. It's like she's in a coma. There's voices calling to her. She doesn't
That's
want
a
to
good
leave.
comparison, yeah.
So she's just re-looping it in a different time and living things out. She's happy where she is in a world where Vision still exists. I don't know what you made about the acting, Stephen. Once again, who's your standout in this episode? For me, again, got to be Paul Bettany. Has to be.
Yeah, I think for the magic act, John.
And again,
I
a
think
very cool
Elizabeth
suit.
Olsen's character is obviously consistent through 2 episodes so far, you know, but I think he's just had more to do, to be honest with you, so far. But I think just because they don't really want to unveil too much of her character just now and what situation she's really in, so they're having to restrain her sort of story just now and just got to hold it together. So I think Elizabeth Olsen's performance is consistent enough. But I think they're just giving Paul Bettany that little bit more sort of freedom to, you know, do this and that. And the magic act part of it was just fantastic.
It was, yeah. Stephen, I don't know what you think. Overall thoughts in the episode, just the vibe and where you think this is going to evolve, moving forward into different episodes. Do you think we'll continue on in this sitcom thing? Or do you think more and more of this voice from the outside will seep in and everything will start to deconstruct around about her? She'll have to face her demons. Because I tell you what, if that happens, it's going to be very, very interesting. She's going to start bringing people like Quicksilver in, her brother she lost and stuff like that, clutching onto this insanity. I know the story it's based off in the comics was children involved and there was loss and grief and stuff. So
I'm assuming that this series is only running for 1 season, is that right?
Well, Feige says that it's been set up in a way where it can go multiple seasons. They're all set up where they can be developed out to a second season. I don't know if that will be the case with this, though, because this bleeding into Multiverse of Madness, this may be a one and done.
I think so. Well, I think by episode 9 we'll know if we really did want more or not. But I think it's going to move along at a pace now. We're already into episode 3. Hopefully next week or the week after. We're moving into that sort of late 60s, early 70s vibe now with the colour. So I think we're moving along at a rate. Kind of the first 2 episodes were just introductory. I think things are starting to go darker. I think we're just getting little glimpses of the darkness in this series. And I think as every week, you know, unfolds, I think it's going to get darker.
Steve, final couple of things we're going to ask you. Are you happy with the half hour long? It's been less than half an hour. In truth, it's been about 6 minutes of end credits. I was almost checking to the end to see if we would get a little glimpse of something. I don't think we did.
I was the same, John, because I was checking the time on it as well, and I think there was 10 minutes left on the running time, but the episode had finished, and there's so many credits, and it shows you obviously the amount of people that's working on this production, and obviously the cost per episode, which we've talked about in news shows as well. But no, I'm happy with the format. It's funny because I wasn't very happy with The Mandalorian because of Star Wars was never shown in that format. This, because it's almost sitcom-esque, and most sitcoms last 22 minutes to 25 minutes anyway. Friends, Big Bang Theory, you could
Short
rattle
form.
through. Only Fools and Horses was a little bit longer for British sort of sitcoms, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, but it's a good running time. It's just enough, I feel, you know, and I'm going to go back and watch these after we've done these reviews anyway, John, because I thoroughly enjoyed those 2 episodes.
Stephen, there'll be Easter eggs galore in there that we've missed. It's absolutely, it's a certainty.
John, I know that there'll be channels out there that will be breaking down Easter eggs as we're speaking, you know, and I'll be watching every one of them.
Absolutely. Stephen, I've already seen one, a link to Spider-Man Far From Home, so definitely going
John,
to.
I'm also going to watch John Compare's review as well.
Yeah, I'm going to watch John Campere. He's on with his wife just now.
Oh, joking aside, you know,
Yes.
I really want to see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen, he's one of the leading figures on YouTube. His good old Gianni. So, absolutely, or Giovanni, whatever his name is. So, Gianni's one of our writers. So, yeah, Stephen, final thing before I let you go. What do you make? Do you think, Paul, the Vision character will somehow pop out of this alive and rejoin the greater MCU, or do you think he's dead?
No, I think he'll come back, John. It'll be another version of him.
Yeah.
And
I'll be happy about that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I think the one we were used to, obviously, you can't take away anything from the tragedy of that character at the very end when Thanos killed him twice, you know, in a very painful way. You don't really want that taken away in a sadistic way, but I want to see more Paul Bettany. We were talking about him the other day about the Star Wars character, John, and I really want to see him back in that world as well, because he's such a presence on screen, you know, and he just pulls you in with his performance, you know, whatever he's in, he's just got one of these sort of demeanours about him that just
a very charismatic guy.
Yeah, exactly, John. Just draws you in by his performances. Yeah, exactly.
He certainly does. But look, Stephen, that's going to round up our review of episode 2 of Wandavision. What is your thoughts on episode 2? Was it your standout? Did you prefer the first one? Do you think, like us, it's going to get darker and darker and darker? This world is going to be deconstructed around about her. Certainly looks like that's going to happen. This voice from outside is calling on her more and more frequently, and it's having some issues with the world around her. But look, if you've got anything to share, you can comment below down in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you're enjoying it. Give us a follow on Twitch if you're watching on there to see more content in the future. And if you do, that's what you'll get. But look, guys, I'm going to bid you farewell for a short, sweet bye.
Back to the studio.